Well over 40,000 here tonight inside Busch Stadium. It's Game 3, the Diamondbacks and the Cardinals. With Al Rabosky, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Only 2 games to go before the All-Star break, and you know that Tony La Russa is asking his guys to push tonight and again tomorrow.
No doubt about it. They've lost 3 straight games. So many things have gone wrong this season, and yet they're right there in striking distance. This is not a perfect ball club. At times they seem like they settle things and get things under control, and then something else will pop up. But you know this is going to be a very competitive second half, and I think it'll start right here as Tony will get the most out of his team.
And when we come back, we'll take a look at history made today in Major League Baseball. History makers. Albert Pujols in that conversation when we come back. History at Yankee Stadium here in St. Louis. The Cardinals closing in on history with Albert Pujols. 21 hits shy of 2,000. The question becomes, will he be wearing a Cardinal uniform if and when he gets to 3,000?
It's a great question. 21 hits away from 2,000, but we know that he wants to stay a Cardinal, and if he plays long enough, he should be the next Cardinal with 3,000 hits. Derek Jeter today became the first ever Yankee as he went 5 for 5, and historic, his 3,000 hit was a game-winning 3-run home run.
Albert Pujols is in the lineup tonight. We'll talk about the top 5 surprises in baseball in the first half when we come back.
half winds down, Pat Paris looks at the top 5 surprises in the National League.
The Philadelphia Phillies are the favorite to win the NL East, but the Braves, Nationals, and Mets aren't going away anytime soon. Atlanta and Washington have two of baseball's better pitching staffs, anchored by rookie closers who have been lights out in Craig Kimbrell and Drew Storen. And the Mets are enjoying a resurgence from Jose Reyes. Philly is the team to beat, but they're feeling some unexpected heat. The headlines in Los Angeles haven't been about Clayton Kershaw's continued dominance or the resurrection of Matt Kemp. It's been about team owner Frank McCourt and how his reckless management has ruined one of the most storied franchises in baseball. New manager Don Mattingly has tried to keep the off-field distractions separate from the on-field production. Devoted fans during the Brooklyn days lovingly called the team Dem Bums. The phrase has taken on a whole new meaning in 2011. In 2008, Cole Hamels brought a World Series title to Philly for the first time since 1983. He was the NLCS and World Series MVP. Since then, Hamels hasn't been as dominating, and he's been overshadowed by the additions of Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, and Roy Oswalt. Hamels has stormed back into baseball's spotlight, putting up some of the game's best numbers so far. He's become one of the favorites for the 2011 Cy Young Award and is now, once again, one of Philadelphia's favorites. The Diamondbacks and the Pirates were the two worst teams in the NL last year. Both teams changed managers this offseason, trading soft-spoken, easygoing skippers for tough-nosed, outspoken former players. And it's paid off. Clint Hurdle has the Pirates hovering around 500 at the break for the first time since 1997. Kirk Gibson, after a 15-22 start, has his Diamondbacks battling for first in the NL West. The West and the Central are both up for grabs, and Pittsburgh and Arizona are showing no signs of slowing down. Lance Berkman haunted Cardinal pitchers for the better part of a decade, but when the Cardinals signed him the past offseason, it appeared they might have grabbed one of the game's best hitters a few years too late. Retirement was never an option for Berkman, and now Lance's lighter and healthier physique has produced a remarkable resurgence. Berkman leads the Cardinals in home runs and RBIs and ranks near the top in both categories in the National League. The Big Puma plans on sticking around baseball a while longer, but how much longer can he carry the Cardinals?
Are in the midst of their 120th season of play in the National League. It continues tonight. And it's Chris Carpenter who gets the start after this brief timeout. Baseball is next. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. By Chevy. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers. By Southwest Airlines. New Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. #1 in quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake. Life needs flavor. Along with the Mad Hungarian, Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us on a beautiful night here in St. Louis. Well over 40,000 here tonight.
That's what we need, Dan. We need a little fighting.
A little fight, Al. You like that, don't you?
Yeah, we've come up a little short the last couple days. As had staged a couple big comebacks, but let's see if we can kind of take one tonight.
Diamondbacks lineup presented by Southwest Airlines. Kelly Johnson with the grand slam last night. And Stephen Drew and Justin Upton here in the first. Young, Montero, Burrows, Bloomquist, Miranda, and Hudson. How about our scout report on Chris Carpenter?
Well, he's chasing Jesse Haynes, the Hall of Fame pitcher. Needs 4 more strikeouts to tie Haynes and the Cardinals' all-time strikeout. He's going deeper into ball games. As a result, he's winning ball games, and he's becoming the ace once again. He's got to stop this 3-game losing streak. He's won 3 in a row. He's had a very dominant ERA during that time, under 1. Last time he had a run like this was when he won the Cy Young back in 05.
All his teammates saying it could be just a matter of time, but Chris Carpenter goes on a run, and right now he's in the middle of a very good run. And let's take a look at the defense presented by Dobbs. Freeze gets the start at third base tonight. Terrio back in there. The battery, Carpenter and Molina. That's presented by Dobbs. So away we go for game number 3. Kelly Johnson, the hero from last night, the former Atlanta Brave, hit the grand slam off of Kyle Loesch, and that was all she wrote. Cardinals made a comeback at the end, but came up just short. And there's a strike to Johnson, who's hitting just .218 this year. 16 home runs, and he's driven in 41.
Low batting average, good production for the leadoff man. He's hitting several different spots in the order, but it seems like most productive when he's leading off.
Calling balls and strikes tonight, Brian O'Nora. Alfonso Marquez at first, Ed Hickox at second, Ed Rapuano, the crew chief, down at third. 1-1 is taken low, 2 balls and 1 strike. Just saw moments ago, right before our first pitch, Derek Jeter, not only with hit number 3,000, he goes 5 for 5 today at Yankee Stadium. That's ripped but foul.
28th player in Major League history to go to 3,000 hits, and only the second. Wade Boggs was the first to do the 3,000 hit on a home run.
Wade Boggs at the time was with Tampa Bay. He kissed home plate with hit number 3,000. Jeter got a big hug from his longtime teammate and the catcher Jorge Posada.
Oh, shoulders drop a little bit right there as Carpenter thought he slipped strike 3 by Kelly Johnson, but didn't get the call.
And the 3-2 pitch to Johnson is taken for a ball high. Carpenter swipes at the baseball in disgust. Leadoff walk, and it brings in Stephen Drew. Stephen Drew made a fine play up the middle at shortstop last night. And this is a guy that plays day in and day out. He plays hurt. Nicknamed Dirt. He's 2 for 9 with a double in this series. .261 average this year with 5 home runs. And he's driven in 45.
I think I surprised you a little bit when I said I thought they were overachieving. But I am very impressed with these Diamondbacks. They're playing good, solid baseball. Good pitching, good defense. Gotten a lot of timely hitting of late.
You know what they do too, Al? They've got that veteran group and that leadership with their coaching staff, and all those guys have had success in the major leagues, and all were aggressive players, and they have taken that aggression and put it towards this team.
And it's not always easy when you have, star quality coaches like this to accept mediocrity or guys that don't play with the same intensity. But I think the one thing that they have translated to this young talented team is, hey, we're going to be behind you as long as you're being aggressive. If you're gonna play safety first, we're going to criticize you. But if you go out there and you attack, you're extremely aggressive. Sure, you're going to make mistakes at times, but we'll be supportive of you.
0-2 the count on Stephen Drew with Upton on deck. Short lead at first by Johnson. Next by Carpenter, taken way outside. The Cardinals, Fox Sports Midwest, and the state of Missouri are teaming up to help you stop smoking. For more information, call the Quit line at 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
Did you ever smoke?
No, Al. No.
I should have asked you that question off the air, but I never did. I just don't understand that. One of the nastiest things, and boy, the best thing we could tell these young kids is don't get started.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Pulled foul. Seeing Arizona makes me think of Joe Garagiola, who's had himself a major difference maker, a campaign against smokeless tobacco in Major League Baseball.
It's the nasty habit of a lot of the old players with the chewing tobacco, and of course decades ago they used to bring an old ball player, Bill Tuttle, around to show the effects of chewing tobacco, and that was enough to stop you from ever putting a dip in your mouth.
1-2 pitch, hit out to center and positioned perfectly by Dave McKay and the coaching staff. Colby Rasmus in center field. There are so many charts on all these hitters and all these players, and Colby Rasmus probably didn't even have to move. He was positioned perfectly. That line drive off the bat of Drew.
But of course that was kind of like a little lazy, sloppy curveball that was hit hard but right at the defense.
Now, Al, it's safe to say you're old school when it comes to pitching and going deep into games and pitch counts, and I would assume you're not worried about the amount of pitches per game we've seen from Chris Carpenter.
Not at all.
Line drive out at second, double play. Schumacher, the quick turn on the double play, and the Cardinals coming up in their half of the first. Upton sends us to the bottom of the first here in St. Louis at Busch Stadium. Tony La Russa's lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Ryan Theriot, David Freese, and Albert Pujols. Holiday, then Berkman, Rasmus, Molina, Carpenter, and Schumacher. Daniel Hudson, the scout report.
Well, it's a pretty strong statement when they say he is Carpenter-like, very competitive. Excellent changeups, got the good fastball, kind of slings the ball. Came over from the White Sox, first time we've seen him, and he's a keeper.
No Daniel Descalso tonight. It is Ryan Theriot getting the start at shortstop. In the clubhouse before the game, I talked to Daniel. I said, how did you feel? He said, really, no big deal. And I understand, and he agrees with you, Al, that if I'm going to be in this role and maybe not an everyday player at this point in my career, Descalso said, I need to be able to play shortstop. So he can play second, he can play third, and clearly we saw him play short last night.
Well, there's no simple way to say it, but you're not a true utility player unless you have the ability to play shortstop. And Daniel said he's played plenty of it in amateur ball.
He also said that coming off the bat, he said he's played so much third this year by going to shortstop, really not that big a deal.
And that's just the little things, Dan, mentally, you don't dwell on the problems. You think of the positives. And as you said, you see the ball from that side.
Hit hard to third. It's knocked down. They stay with it. Wide throw. Theriot on his way to second base. The air by Burrows on a hard hit ball by Ryan Theriot. He winds up at second base. And Burrows looks to be shook up just a bit. Down at third base on this hot shot.
Gets by the first baseman. I have been impressed by the defense. Now, we have seen a couple little sloppy plays here and there, but overall, Arizona pitches well, plays good defense. But that's a play that obviously Burrows would like another shot at.
So it's a base hit and an error.
Kind of generous,
to say the least. And now it's David Freese, and again you can see going inside on Freese, and we saw that in the first two games of this series.
And we have so many, as you said, scout reports and reports on everyone, but when somebody has a hand injury, a lot of pitchers, they're going to try to exploit that by working inside. David coming off the broken hand. The timing's a little off. Most people like the ball out over the plate. Maybe the little fear factor because you were hit by a pitch inside.
See a lot of times David go to the opposite way, and they shade him to right center field. There's a fly ball. Theriot will tag up from second base to third. Strong throw coming in. It's cut off, and Theriot is safe at third base. Albert Pujols will dig in. Here's a look at the defense. Bloomquist, Young, and Upton. Then Burrows, Drew, Johnson, and Miranda along the infield. In our battery tonight, it's Daniel Hudson, Miguel Montero. That's presented by Dobbs.
Great scoring opportunity here. The Cardinals take an early lead. Albert missed the 13 games with the fractured wrist. 1 for 12 in his return.
Outfield very deep for Pujols. Takes the ball low.
Hudson has had a little trouble earlier in the season in the first inning before he settles down.
Now we're talking about Albert Pujols potentially getting to 3,000 hits 5 or 6 years. It's not that far away if he continues with the current pace that he's on. Right now 21 hits away from 2,000. And this is year number 11.
11th year. He's 21 hits away, so not inconceivable for him to average nearly 200 hits per season. So 6-7 years would probably be pretty realistic.
1 ball, 1 strike on Pujols.
And all things indicated, if he signs with the Cardinals, it would be of that duration.
Runner at third, less than 2 outs. Scored 6 out of 16 times. That's it.
A little surprising, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But this year has been a little surprising too.
Now his numbers after a very slow start, into 17 home runs and 47 RBIs. They're obviously low by his standards. The batting average close to 50 points lower, but still a lot of players would take these production numbers.
The 2-2 pitch. Ground ball, foul. Cardinals all-time hit leaders. No surprise, Stan the Man, then Brock and Hornsby, Enos Slaughter, Red Schoendienst, and Albert Pujols. Those are the numbers as a Cardinal.
This gives you an idea. Just one more hit away from tying the great redhead.
A 2-2 pitch. Pujols rips it into center field, and it's 1-0 Cardinals. RBI number 48 for Albert Pujols as Terrio scores the run. 1-0 St. Louis.
Talked about a good changeup from Hudson, and many of these Cardinals are facing him for the first time. He might have gone to the fastball one time too many. Slings it up there, but it's down right in the middle. Nice little piece of hitting. Didn't try to do too much with it. Solid line drive out to center, and the Cardinals take the lead.
So tied with Red Schoendienst on the all-time hits list in St. Louis. That ball scoots away from Montero, and moving up on the play, Albert Pujols to second.
More than likely a wild pitch, but could have been a little better effort, as we've seen Montero stab at a few balls and get lucky. Not this time.
I talked to Lance Berkman, Al, before the game about the home run derby. I said, are you a guy that buys into the fact that it can mess up your swing? He said no. He said, no, I hear other guys say that. He said, it sounds like a good excuse for a poor second half.
Well, Mark Grace, and remember when Prince Fielder was named the National League captain, the Arizona Diamondbacks were in Milwaukee, and he told me that Prince Fielder asked Berkman if he wanted to participate, and he declined and recommended Holiday.
And I asked Lance, why did you decline it? And he said, do we want to win this thing? That's what he said to me. He said, I told him I shouldn't even be in the same hitting group with Matt Holliday. He said, if you want to win this thing, go get Matt Holliday. And there's a look at what he's done with runners in scoring position this year. But that's the kind of self-deprecating humor that a guy like Berkman has, and it really lightens up the mood of this clubhouse and this team.
No doubt about it. And he can make fun of himself. So when he has something instructional that he wants to impart to a teammate, he can do it with that same type of humor. He can kind of get on somebody else, get the point across, and no one's offended because he makes fun of himself also.
So if Lance says it shouldn't mess up your swing, I'm going to buy into that, because he's been in 4 of them. He's done that 4 times already in his career.
I just find so much of this game is your mental approach. And, some guys just worry and think that it will. Obviously, you can get fatigued, and when you're out there and laboring, you pick up bad habits.
Holiday went, strikeout, no argument from Matt. First strikeout on the night for Daniel Hudson. How careful do you think teams are with this spot right here, Al? You've got Pujols at second, even though it's the first inning. But you've got one of the hottest hitters in baseball right now for the first half in Berkman, and Colby Rasmus on deck.
I think the game has changed so much in that sense, where people want to pitch around people as early as the first inning instead of just attacking the zone, trusting that that you're going to get people out, your team's going to score you runs. I think when you pitch around people, you just invite big innings.
1-0 lead thanks to Pujols. Here comes the 0-1 pitch to Berkman. Taken for a ball inside. 1 ball, 1 strike with 2 outs and a runner at second base.
As a pitcher, you have to believe that you can retire every hitter. Now, there will be circumstances where you can pitch according to situations, or if you fall behind, you don't have to just give in. And now that you've fallen behind here, you get a little more careful, and you still try and make and execute your really good pitch. A lot of guys make a mistake, we're just grooving a pitch, but it's just too easy just to put a guy on.
Berkman homered last night, swings through the pitch to even up the count, and it's 2-2.
So you take a little off and you make a good location down and away, because he's kind of assuming he's going to maybe get a fastball.
Carpenter had 12 pitches in the top of the first. This will be number 24 for the right-hander Hudson. The 2-2. Off the end of the bat, foul.
Another off-speed pitch.
To give Lance Berkman a lot of credit coming into this season in great shape. Maybe with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder when the Yankees said they didn't want him. Houston did not want him. The Cardinals said, we'd love to have you. He came ready to play from day one. Inside, 3-2.
And Dan, I think a lot of people maybe in Houston kind of had a wrong impression, saying, okay, you had a bad year, you really got yourself in good shape. Part of the reason for his bad year was he missed all of spring training, tried to come back too soon from the knee surgery.
Absolutely. You think about, for a hitter, how important it is to have that base.
No doubt.
If you don't have that base, you're all arms, and that power is gone. The weight shift that Berkman has talked about that he needs to have is gone.
And then when he got traded to the Yankees, he wasn't playing on an everyday basis. That's something that's new, facing a new league, new pitchers. You're not playing every day.
3-2, spoiled by Berkman.
Things kind of snowball on you.
What a crowd we have here tonight. Over 43,000 packed into Busch Stadium. Pitch number 28 coming up in the first inning for Hudson. Three-two pitch. Berkman rips it, but foul.
Ball away, something off speed, and then you kind of bring something inside, but it's far enough inside, the only thing you do is pull it.
Down the right field line and in the bleachers in right, it is hot. The sun is bearing down on those fans, and on the left side of the field for us, down that left field line in the shade. 10th pitch of this at bat coming up to Berkman. Another fine at bat by Lance Berkman, draws the walk. Inning is extended to Colby Rasmus. Remember, the inning started with a play that very well could have been made by Burrows. Terrio was given a hit, then the error by Burrows. Wild pitch didn't help either.
Got to get Kobe going. Kobe, a lot of talent. A 248 average. Very disappointing.
Yeah, 0 for his last 7, 3 for his past 16.
Remember on the road trip, he had 3 hits. They're all 3 home runs, but many times that's a kiss of death.
2 on and 2 outs. Drew backing up the shortstop and makes the catch. Albert Pujols, the RBI, his 48th of the first half, and it's 1-0 St. Louis. Johnson against Chris Carpenter and also Chris Young. And Young is 9 for 15. First time up, Johnson walked, and he's 7 for 18. So that's a key for Carpenter. Keep those two at bay.
Carp had a rough game in the desert early in the season, and those two were part of the problems for him.
It is amazing, Al, isn't it, to see a player fall as far as Chris Young did. You know, he's one of their young guys that they've locked up and a couple of years ago sent down to the minor leagues at the end of that season. And then all of a sudden, next year he's an all-star, and we have our auction winners for the Joplin experience to come to the ballpark and visit us in the booth and in the truck as well. Had a chance to meet Tom Mee and Mike Helling and the gang down in the truck. And they recovered, and they're up here, and before you know it, they're going to be with Whitey Herzog. Yes, you're on TV. You're on TV. And they'll spend the rest of the night with Whitey. Will they live to tell about that?
They'll learn some good stories.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Remember, everything bad he says about me, it's true.
And we thank them very much for the very generous contribution. Left side and under the glove of David Freese, and a base hit.
Kind of a hanging, looping, breaking ball. Kind of get on him a little bit, but you see the adjustment. Pulled the hands in, hit it through the left side.
But Al, I'm sure you saw guys like that, you know, Young, where you think, well, what's happened? He's fallen so far. Can he get his career back on track? And not only does he do that, he becomes an all-star.
Well, that's why you really got to be careful. We talk about locking up young players.
Young thought about stealing.
Yeah. And remember, that's a big aspect. It's usually a tough combination to steal off a Carpenter and Molina, but Diamondbacks, that's a big part of their weaponry, the running game. Carpenter's curveball, not real happy with sharpness, but you know, young players, there's an old baseball adage, it's easy to get to the big leagues, it's hard to stay. You just got to keep on working harder and harder every year.
Here's a 1-0 pitch by Carpenter and a base hit out to left. Carpenter has not been happy at all with the strike zone so far here in the first two innings.
Down the way, but you know, low ball hitter goes with the pitch. And part of being a pitcher is being realistic. You know, I mean, there are times when you mentally, physically, you do everything you want to do, and a guy beats you. You know, you can't beat yourself up. You just got to give him a little credit. Maybe it gives you a little more revenge the next time, or you say, I'm going to pull my neck and make sure it doesn't happen again. There are other times you throw a pitch, it should be hit. But sometimes the hitters are just a little better than you that given at bat.
Now Burrows bunting. It's a good one. The sacrifice. Carpenter makes the play, and covering first base Pujols. So sack 1-3 on the play, and Bloomquist will be the hitter, the left fielder for the Diamondbacks.
It's the bunt down, perfectly placed. Two men advance into scoring position.
Bloomquist is hitting .261 with a pair of home runs and 9 RBIs on the year. Arizona's starting play tonight, just one game back of San Francisco in the National League West at 49 and 41. Cardinals, meanwhile, at 47 and 43, tied with Pittsburgh, and one game back of Milwaukee. Cincinnati is 4 out. One thing about Arizona, they played well on the road. They're in the middle of this 10-game road trip, and they're 4 games above 500 away from home.
Got off to a very slow start. They revamped their bullpen. They cut down on their strikeouts.
Carpenter was helped with a double play. First inning, line drive that Schumacher turned into 2. That's down, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. It's a hot, muggy night here in St. Louis. And Busch Stadium is packed tonight. Two-one pitch. Pujols is way off the line, but playing in over at first base. Freese is in a few steps at third, but close to the line. Middle infield stays back, and Carpenter would love to strike out here.
Talked about that he's chasing the Hall of Famer Jess Haynes for 5th spot on the Cardinals' all-time strikeout list, and he could use one right here.
Also, he could catch Matt Morris
with 11 to tie 4th place with Matt.
Outside, and the count runs full. Top of the second, Cincinnati leading Milwaukee 3-2, and the Cubs over Pittsburgh right now. That's in the bottom of the second, 3-0. Keep an eye on those 2 games throughout our telecast tonight. The 3-2 pitch. Line drive down the right field line. Foul. Not by much. 3-2. We'll do it again.
Seen this resurgence of Carpenter. We're 3-0, ERA of .75. Going much deeper into ball games, and the cutter has gotten a lot tighter, sharper. Curveball has been more consistent, but we haven't seen the curveball yet tonight.
Carpenter delivers another 3-2 and misses outside, and the bases are loaded. Christian Day at the ballpark Saturday, August 13th. The Cards and Rockies. Stick around after the gate. Hear from Adam Wainwright. For tickets and information, visit Cardinals.com/Christian Day. Second walk issued by Chris Carpenter. Bases loaded, and it brings in Miranda. He is the 8th place hitter. First baseman, only hitting .216. He's hit 7 home runs. He's driven in 23.
For his last 30 at home. 1 for 4 last night, and has hit .206 in his last 11 games. There's a curveball that he flips over.
Young, Montero, and Bloomquist all aboard. The bases are loaded. Back-to-back singles to start the inning by Young and Montero. The walk to Bloomquist. The 0-1 pitch tied him up. Nasty pitch.
Good cutter. And that's the good cutter. As it looks like a fastball, but just has that little late movement downward, sliding down and across the plate.
Only hitting .158 in the spot this year. 0-2 the count. You go back with the same pitch.
You've got a lot of options. You can backdoor a ball. You're way ahead in the count. The cutter has become a very signature pitch to the left-handed batters. You can elevate a fastball, try to get him chase it.
0-2 pitch. Miranda strikes out.
Back to the cutter.
Yep, same pitch. First strikeout for Chris Carpenter.
right on top of that one and see the bite on it. Not quite out of it. Daniel Hudson has 7 RBIs.
Yeah, hitting .294.
But you will take your chances. You're Chris Carpenter. You think you can defeat any opposing pitcher.
In the air to center field. Rasmus coming on. He won't get it. And it gets by him. 2 runs will score. Here comes another. And Hudson delivers on a ball that scoots by Colby Rasmus. And Arizona has a lead 3-1. Base hit, 2 RBIs, and an error on Rasmus.
Got a little too close to it. Came in on it. And then he can't smother the ball. Gets by him. Pulls up. And ouch.
Top of the lineup, and now Johnson with a runner at second base. Curveball in there for a strike. Arizona leads it for the first time. It's 3-1.
Third error on Kobe this season.
Oh, 2. Walk first time up for Johnson, their leadoff man. Pulls it foul.
Nice curveballs, cutters. The days of going out and establishing your fastball first time through the order, that just doesn't happen that much anymore.
Johnson in his second year with the Diamondbacks, and a swing and a miss. Carpenter gets his second strikeout, but Hudson delivers, and Arizona has the lead. Up on Tuesday, and Tuesday it'll be in Arizona. That's the All-Star game. It's coming up on Fox, and that'll be at 7. The X Factor is during that broadcast as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So Daniel Hudson has given Arizona the lead, and it's a 3-1 lead for the Diamondbacks as we move to the bottom of the second inning.
Cardinals getting a little experience of trying to battle back, aren't they?
Yeah. Saw that Cincinnati series, we've seen that in a couple games here.
Well, the good news is there is plenty of time to come back.
Molina, Burrows gets up, makes the play. So Yadier Molina is retired, and it brings in Chris Carpenter, and again Tony La Russa batting the pitcher 8th tonight. Right down the middle and a strike. Carpenter, it seemed like Al, he had gotten through the hard part, which was to get the position player. Then you're 2 outs with the bases loaded, and then the pitcher Hudson got him. And you said it, watch out for him, he can hit. Sure enough, he delivers 2 RBIs, and a 3rd run came around on the air by Rasmus.
And there's no doubt that Carpenter is aware of that. Whoever stands in that batter's box, you've got to give them respect, pay them their due.
Carpenter strikes out, 2nd of the night for Hudson. It brings in Skip Schumacher. Skip telling me his little guy wasn't feeling too good last night, so that means mom and dad have to stay up a little bit. We forget that these guys are moms and dads too, and sometimes you do have to stay up late, get up early, and all those kind of things.
Sound like maybe a voice of experience.
Oh yeah. But you do forget that, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Skip shoots it the other way, and that ball is off the glove of the left fielder. Bloomquist couldn't come up with it. Lack of sleep may have helped out Skip.
Sometimes it does. Dan, you go out there, you're not 100%. You just relax. You kind of just feel for things. Similar play to the one that Holiday couldn't make last night off the glove, and Bloomquist is kind of the super utility guy, but you see him more in the infield than the outfield.
Runner at second base, and Ryan Theriot will be the hitter. Singleton scored in the first, the lone run for the Redbirds on an RBI base hit by Pujols. Lifts it in the air to center field. Going back, Young. And he makes the catch. Skip Schumacher with the double, left stranded. Drew Upton, Young coming up. Sports Bar and Grill at Lumiere Casino. It's now open, a sports bar for everyone. And by Taco Bell, right now offering $20 admission vouchers to Live Nation concerts. Beautiful night here in St. Louis with the Mad Hungarian, Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin. And a packed house here tonight at Busch Stadium. That catches the outside corner. 2, 3, and 4 in the lineup for Arizona. And it begins with Stephen Drew. Drew flied out to center his first time up. You've always liked him, haven't you, as a player?
Yes.
Hard-nosed. And as we talked about throughout this series, brothers, J.D. Drew, but a little different in the way they approach the game.
A little different, you know. J.D. a little more laid back, Stephen more aggressive. Not afraid to get the uniform dirty, really a hustler. Plays good defense, you know, gets a lot of triples, it seems like, you know, where he's hustling. And JD's had a very, very solid career.
Been around for a while now. 1998 he first came up, I believe. Jammed him, popped up, shallow left, and this will be Holiday. Makes the catch. Drew is over 2, and it brings in Upton. Upton with a double play off his bat first time up as he lined out to the second baseman Schumacher. Up and in.
Pitch inside for effect. Cut her away.
Albert Pujols, if you're just joining us, a line drive to center, hit number 1,980, tying him with Red Shandy's for 5th on the all-time Cardinals hit list. Popped up, long way to go for Pujols and Schumacher. Berkman is there, it drops in, and this could be a double. It will be. Justin Upton can fly, and he's at second base.
It's well placed.
You can say that again.
Everybody hustling, going after it, but nobody getting close enough to it. Forward, just kind of got up there. You see Albert go back. Good angle for the second baseman. You got Berkman coming in, but no one could get anywhere near it.
Runner at second base with one out. How many teammates, Al, did you have that picked up hit number 3,000?
Well, when I played with him, I never saw Lou or George Brett. Did not see their 3,000. I always regretted that. Those two.
So you never actually saw the hit of number 3,000. But you played with Brock and you played with George Brett, two Hall of Famers.
Right. It was with Kansas City when Lou got his 3,000 hit with the Cardinal, and with Atlanta or retired when George got his 3,000 hit.
Derek Jeter with number 3,000 tonight. And a 5-for-5 performance. Amazing.
Only 28th in Major League history. indication how rare.
That is a fair ball. You talk about perfectly placed. They're going to wave in the runner. Pujols will throw into second base. It's a back-to-back doubles. And you couldn't place those any better. 4-1. Upton and Young, back-to-back doubles.
Upton almost forgot to run. He was standing at second base when that ball got by Albert. So far off the line, just inside the line, and some days you kind of go out there and you see your snake dead.
Now, what is going through Carpenter's mind right now? A ball that was hit into center field, nearly caught by Colby Rasmus, that would have saved 3 runs from scoring, and then back-to-back bloop doubles. Eric Young, the first base coach with the Diamondbacks, as that baseball shot by him. Seen his son with the Rockies, and he can absolutely fly.
EY, great base stealer in his own right. Good quality person.
0-1 pitch. Make it 0-2.
Dan, you get into a game like this, if you're Carpenter, you really mentally have to battle. You can't just give in. You just can't just say, hey, it's my day. You just have to go out there and say, okay, they got 4 runs. They aren't going to get the 5th. We're going to come from behind.
Oh-2 pitch to Montero. Montero with a single his first time up. Look back a couple of weeks ago, a bit surprising that Roy Halladay and Chris Carpenter both were in the top 3 of hits allowed.
Early in the season, for a while, Carpenter was leading the league in hits allowed.
2-2.
That run of 124 pitches or so per outing, he's extended it to 4 straight, thereabouts. That all started kind of in an effort to kind of keep him into a game long enough to get a win, because he wasn't getting much run support.
49 pitches right now, and you really don't worry about a pitch count with what we've seen with Carpenter. He mentioned in the start that he made on the road against Baltimore that as the game wore on and he went the distance in that game, he said, I felt my best inning 7, 8, 9. Line drive and a base hit into center field. They'll hold up the runner. Throw comes in to Pujols, and it's 1st and 3rd with only 1 out.
Kind of surprised there a little bit that they did hold up the runner. Why not challenge Colby?
Colby has been throwing much better here in the last month or so, but 4-1 lead. You've already won the first 2 games of the series. May want to challenge.
It's kind of another ball up out over the middle of the plate. There's why they held him up, is he wasn't sure the ball went through. So Matt Williams initially wasn't moving in the right direction.
Now Sean Burrows, who sacrificed his first time up. Breaking ball and a strike. Actually talked to Colby this afternoon about his throwing. He feels just like we do that it has improved here the last month. He said, try not to think too much and just play the game and let it fly.
Anticipate. And you know, when you think too much, you're worrying about it.
That's an out at first, and we may have a double play here. Young is in a rundown. Freeze, underhands, and Pujols tags him barehanded. You got to be kidding me on that play. Albert Pujols with a barehanded tag at the plate to complete the double play. So Pujols then tags the bag at first, and we've got a rundown.
Well, Yachty gets rid of it too quickly, and then they get the runner going back there, and lucky they get the out at here. Run them all the way back to third base. You would have had two runners there. You'd have your automatic out at third. And here, like you said, the barehanded play, very risky, but they pull it off.
So you're telling me, Al, that's not how you draw it up?
No. Yachty's got to run that ball. Run the runner back to third base. Let the third baseman close the gap. There was too much separation. And then allowed Young to start breaking back for home and almost snuck in.
Yeah. Young slides, he's safe.
Yeah, and you know, and Albert, I mean, he's always where he's supposed to be, isn't he?
Heads up play and barehanded. Couple of hops here, backhanded by Drew, and Freeze is retired. If you have a question for us, go to carsoup.com/Cardinals and send us your email the booth questions. Albert has been active here tonight. Now tied with Red Shandies on the Cardinals all-time hit list with an RBI single. First time up.
I think Red will get over it, don't you?
Oh, I think he'll be just fine with that.
And of course, that's Red's all-time Cardinal hits. He's played on a couple championships with the Milwaukee Braves. And returned to the Cardinals as a great pinch hitter.
See that shot right here of Albert Pujols. The backside seems to be moving forward, doesn't it, Al? A little bit more than we're used to.
A little more collapsed. That back knee.
Noticed that last night. I would think the most relieved guy in hit number 3,000, once it's done, the official score. Clean hit. Just give it home run, whatever. Make it a clean hit. Walk to Pujols.
Jeter made it very easy on the official score today.
Yes, he did. It was not a typical Jeter type hit, which is a lot of times that inside out swing, a little flare into right. But he has had a remarkable career.
And a tumultuous offseason as his negotiations were going forward, and became very, controversial.
Very public, too.
Very, very public.
And he did not want that to happen. And you wonder if now this is behind him and he takes off in the second half. Very, very deep for Matt Holliday. The 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ground ball off the glove, and everybody will be safe. Hudson couldn't come up with it. It may have been a double play if he does cleanly, and instead it's a chance for Berkman to tie it up with 1 swing of the bat.
Hudson probably turns it into an infield single. As you said, just game of inches, double play. If he gets this clearly, deflects off and to no man's land and scored an infield single. And that's the break the Cardinals need.
.365 with runners in scoring position. Runners at first and second for Berkman. Our catcher, Miguel Montero. Let's watch how quickly he puts down the singles. Did you get that, Al?
Sure. I might cross you up, though.
Bat into the seats.
Scary as a young lady who was hit with the bat. Hopefully okay. Lance wears those gloves, but we'll probably see him throwing the bat more than anybody else. And we talked the other day about how loose his hands are.
1 ball, 1 strike on Berkman. Hit out of play.
There's so many different ways that you can give signals. Sometimes it's not just the fingers that are down. Sometimes it's more pumps. But that's you got to be pretty quick.
I don't know if I've seen a guy do it that fast, Al. You played the game a long time. I'm sure you haven't. That quickly?
I think I would say slow it down.
Knowing you, Al.
And I only had 1 pitch, so.
Watch this. Here he goes. Boom, 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 boom. All right, hey, let's do it. 1-2 pitch. Up and into Berkman. That pitch at 95 from Hudson. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, Bob Gibson and Tim McCarver were always on page so succinctly that a lot of times Bob would balk. You know, he would start his windup looking in to get the sign, and all of a sudden Timmy put down the sign and go, no, that's not the one I want. You have to stop.
Full count. You see Montero too. He'll touch his leg. Sometimes he touches his glove, pats on that, then dictates where he wants the ball.
Correct. I mean, you can go from, where different. One knee could be the first sign, another could be the second sign. The head could be a different, just pumps.
Take the Cardinals with you wherever you go this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today. They'll see every Cardinals game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. MLB.tv. Baseball is everywhere.
Gaylord Perry had some of the most sophisticated signs, and he had a young catcher, Larry Buck Owens, his first major league start. He was from Ohio and we were in Cincinnati. The first pitch of the game, Ed Vargo, the senior National League umpire, was behind the plate, and Larry Owens didn't get a glove on it, hit Vargo right in the chest, and I think he wanted to beg out of that game from that point on.
That's hit out of play. You know, Rasmus would love to atone for the misplay in center field that led to 3 early runs for Arizona after the Cardinals grabbed a 1-0 lead. Diamondbacks would add another run in the 3rd.
2 outs, so they're very, very costly base hit in front of him, and then got by him.
Colby, a ground ball right side and foul to the Canadian Baseball Hall of Famer Dave McKay. Works with the outfielders day in and day out. Colby telling me that Dave has really helped his game. One ball and 2 strikes. And Colby hits it out to left center field. Young calling for it and makes the catch. Pujols with a single, an RBI, and a walk so far tonight. Cardinals trail. Midwest invites our young hockey fans to the Blues Youth Hockey Camp starting July 25th at the Ice Zone. And it's for ages 5 through 12. Players, coaches, alumni will be there. For more information, go to stlouisblues.com. You know, our buddy Bob Plager is going to have a roast coming up. Now, that would be a little fun.
He could roast himself.
That's what I'm saying. Can you imagine? Don't let him get the last word. Whoa. Berkman makes the catch on a line drive that initially looked like he was coming in on.
I think we need a little more, longer than a 6-second delay.
Wow. That'd be fun, though.
And I guess Marshall Falk is being roasted tonight.
That's correct. Good play there by Berkman. He certainly has not embarrassed himself at all in right field, has he?
No, I think that was way overblown, that he was going to have problems returning to the outfield. Now, there's been a play here and there that, you know, I mean, I'm sure he wishes he would have made, but for the most part, he's done exactly what we expected.
Ball 1-2 on Miranda. Struck out his first time up with the bases loaded, and then after that was the single by Hudson that led to 3 runs. Not much to cheer about so far tonight. Cardinals trailing 4-1.
They took the big crowd right out of it early. I would not put this Diamondback team as one of the elite teams, but you like the way they play the game. And that looks like they're going to go out there and be very competitive pitching. You know, they play an aggressive style. They like to run. Play decent, you know, pretty good defense. They've got their bullpen under control.
Two.
Some young, talented players, but you wouldn't really say that, you know, there's no real stars. Superstar type, you know, players. Got players that can eventually move into the upper echelon, but they play as a unit.
3-2 pitch. Misses down and in.
Mentioned that they concerted effort to eliminate strikeouts and also tighten up their bullpen, and they've done a good job in those areas.
I mean, this is a sincere question here, Al. I mean, how much of a difference can a manager make in 1 year? I mean, for the most part, the same core players are back for Arizona. Johnson, Drew, Young, Upton, Montero is back. But yet, you know, manager can't go out and throw strikes or hit for you. And there's a look at what the Diamondbacks did last season. But you know, how much of a difference can a guy like Kirk Gibson and that staff make?
Well, I think they can make a lot of difference, particularly on a short-term basis, when they have the personalities that they have. That they're just not going to tolerate certain things. The most demoralizing aspect for a young team is to
thought about going to second, get the sure out at first.
You know, battle, get leads, and then to have them lost late in the ball game, that just destroys and demoralizes. You know, a manager can't do anything with a strikeout. Nothing positive happens in those areas. So you really change things, and you tell guys that, hey, if you play aggressive baseball, you do this my way. You know, you don't be afraid to make mistakes. I'm gonna be supportive of you. I think a manager can have an instant impact, especially with the caliber of that coaching staff. I mean, that's a strong personalities there that, you know, are very fair, and guys that were everyday players and great players, but they don't belittle guys that don't have the same ability level that they are. They tried to make them better.
Well, I asked some of their personnel, tell me about your bullpen and why it is better this year. They said Charles Nagy, all he does is preach throw strikes. It's, I mean, number one thing he says, go in there, don't walk anybody, challenge them, and throw strikes. And this is coming from a 3-time All-Star, their pitching coach.
If you're striking out all the time, you can't move runners along. If you're out there walking people, your defense can't help you. So I mean, it's just simple little things. You know, we talked about Pittsburgh, the great story with Pittsburgh. I think Clint Hurdle has done a great job coming in there. His personality and type of guy that, you know, has got a gift of gab. You know, he's got a lot of bull. But for a young team, he can get those guys to believe in themselves over, you know, a course of time. They've had talent over the years. They just never have developed. They've never gotten any better.
2-2. Look at this list of coaches that they have. Gibson, Don Baylor, Charles Nagy, Alan Trammell, Eric Young, and Matt Williams.
3 MVPs. You know, we have home run champions. You got good, solid players, stolen base champions. You got guys that just knew how to play the game and played it well.
Guys that won World Series.
Yep. That's another aspect, too.
Alan Trammell was not given the best team in Detroit. I think we all know that. But many people around baseball will tell you, for what he had and with the young people that he was dealing with not a lot of talent, but guys that had a high upside, he really got the stage set for Detroit to have some success.
I never hit Baylor, but I've been hit by him.
You're one of the guys that never hit him, huh? Catches the outside corner, and Johnson doesn't like that call. Carpenter hasn't got that strike all night. Budweiser, Zach Duke 2-3 against Jaime Garcia 8-3. On the air tomorrow at 12:30. It's our What's on Tap. There's been talk about an extension out for Garcia, but no official word yet, unless you are holding back information that I must know about.
No, but I believe contracts should be between the players and ownership, and I think the best ones are the ones we just read about after they're consummated. I think we all be in agreement that Jaime is deserving of one. Lock up his give him some security. Give him a little security and lock up some of his arbitration years, maybe a first year of free agency. Be a good deal for both sides.
0-2 is the count. (4-1) Arizona. Molina, Carpenter, and Schumacher here in the Cardinals' half of the fourth. Throws the bat at it and it rolls foul. Well, we see him do that a lot just to stay alive. Little smile on his face. Not a broken bat. It's hard for some of the players, Al, not to look ahead to tomorrow after the game and maybe just getting away from baseball for a while and staying focused and trying to grind out tonight and tomorrow.
For some, absolutely. And I think at any point in the season, there's distractions that you're constantly battling, trying to overcome. And you're talking about contract disputes, Dan. I've seen one of the biggest mistakes a lot of young players make. First time they really have that breakthrough season, they'll play the first 4 or 5 months and it'll be brilliant, and then they start getting ahead of themselves and just start worrying about how much money they're going to make the next year and just have it all fall apart the last month.
And we've also seen guys that do get those deals, and once they get them, they fall apart.
Yeah, and that's why it's you really got to be careful who you give those long-term contracts to. When a ball club has control of a player really for the first 6 years, after 3 years, you become arbitration eligible. Or you're a member of the team, but an arbitrator might have the decision to pick your salary figure or ownership salary figure, and then after 6 years you can become a free agent. But
the problem with that too is that all of a sudden you hear the people that you're working for and you want to work for telling you all the bad things that you've done to try to plead their case for why the salary should be at this level.
I remember
deep in the hole, Drew, long throw and got up.
Still had him by plenty. But when arbitration first started, Dan, I remember I had a teammate down in Atlanta, left-handed reliever, and he told me it was the most horrifying experience he ever had. He had to sit in there and for 2 hours he had to listen to everything he couldn't do. And back then the money wasn't that great. And I said, well, you won the case and you gained about $100,000 more. And he goes, yeah, but they said all these things. I said, I could sit there and listen to a lot of trash for $100,000. It really wouldn't bother me.
And the numbers are a little different now too.
Yeah, it's it's almost
out to right center field. This ball will get down off the bat of Chris Carpenter on his way to second base with a double. Now that's funny. You'd be able to handle it. Yeah. No problem. 1-out double for Carpenter. AT&T trivia question. Name the only 2 teams that did not have a pitcher recording 10 or more wins last season. AT&T trivia question.
We're looking at one of them right here.
Yeah, Arizona and Pittsburgh.
And now, Correa's got 11 wins, and Hudson's trying to win his 10th tonight. But I think this pitcher was making about $50,000 and he got a $100,000 raise. I said, I could listen to a lot of, they can tell me whatever they want to tell me. But it's tough for both sides, because as soon as the hearing's over, the other, the organization say, hey, look, you got to understand this is part of the process. We really don't mean these things.
The reality of it is that's true.
Yeah, and I remember in the early days, one of the quickest arbitration hearings is now before you go into the hearing, you submit, each side submits their request, But in original days, you'd walk in and you would file your request. And one arbitrator picked up the side and said, I think it's over. They go, what do you mean? The ball club had offered more than what the player had asked for.
Wouldn't that be beautiful?
I think I'd fire my agent, though.
Yeah. 2-1 is chopped to second. Carpenter advances to third. And it brings in Ryan Theriot here in the bottom of the fourth.
And they used to use the National Arbitration Board. There really were people that really did not even understand baseball. And there was a story about a hearing, and after 2 hours, the arbitrator asked a simple question. It was pertaining to a pitcher, and he goes, well, what does the Equal Rights Amendment have to do with this case? He heard ERA.
You gotta be kidding me.
No. And now it's it was a one-panel judge, and now it's 3. But it's almost an automatic 100% raise for a player just having the ability to go. And I've talked to a lot of players, marginal players, where I've said, always be careful when you're eligible for arbitration. Don't evaluate yourself, because you've got value to this ball club. But if you go out there and think you're worth a lot more, you're not going to be tendered a contract.
2 balls and 1 strike on Ryan Theriot. 1 for 2 tonight. David Freese on deck. He is in the second spot in this lineup.
Found out that Hudson has a good changeup. Theriot is one of the few guys that has faced him. Maybe trying to get up in the box to get that changeup before it gets back deep on him.
Out in front on the changeup, just got a piece.
Kind of look at Hudson, just kind of a Charles Nagy disciple that just gets the ball, throws it, tries to be around that strike zone, throw strikes, change speeds.
Ground ball to second, taken there by Johnson. And Theriot is retired. Carpenter left stranded. We move to the 5th. It's 4-1. '68, first ever indoor All-Star game held at the Astrodome. Manager Red Shandy's leads the National League past the American League 1-0. Red right now just hanging out in the radio booth. Tonight it's Mike Shannon and Jay Randolph with the call over on KMOX.
John Rooney's going to be doing some radio during the All-Star break and the game, and so he's already out in Arizona taking in the sights and sounds.
First pitch to Drew is taken for a ball. Talked to John today. He gave me a phone call. He said it's only about 110 out in Arizona. A grounder that's pulled foul.
Supposed to be a little warmer tomorrow, but a lot of difference in humidity. But you know, this is summer in St. Louis, and really we've been lucky.
Popped up, backing up David Freese, foul territory, and makes the catch. So Drew is retired. It brings in Upton. By the way, tomorrow there are $13 seats that are available here at the ballpark, part of dynamic pricing. And for those $13, there's free ice cream before the game for the kids. Kids 48 inches and under receive a free ticket to Six Flags. Kids can run the bases after the game. Jaime Garcia looking for win number 9. And that's for just $13, part of dynamic pricing tomorrow. Head to Cardinals.com. That's a pretty good value. And we know how well Garcia has pitched at home. He's been remarkable in his career.
Kind of have to watch and see. I've always been intrigued to see how many starting pitchers lose games out of the bullpen on the final day before the All-Star break. You know, they're not anticipating. You know, they're kind of set in their mode that they're going to be a starter. They got that time off, and all of a sudden the manager said, "Oh, I want to pitch you out of the bullpen, keep you sharp," and they do something they're not accustomed to doing.
Fourth walk issued by Carpenter to go along with 3 strikeouts. 77 pitches here this evening.
And you know that's not Carpenter.
Brings in Young, who is singled. He has doubled. Some players would tell you they don't hit with batting gloves, but yet they'll run with batting gloves.
Or that wrist guard, you know, because they'll put their hand down when they slide and try to prevent an injury.
Fouled back.
Albert's kind of wearing a apparatus like that now. When he's on the base pass,
here's a ground ball right side. Pujols gets the lead runner.
Not thrown hard or hit hard enough for turn 2.
Aggressive play by Pujols to get the lead man Upton, who runs quite well.
Spins right there. Great confidence in his throwing ability. See the umpire right there in perfect position to try and get a good look. A lot of times the umpires will just go on sound as well as sight. But you saw there, you know, where he put that left hand down in his slide, and that's why he wears that wrist guard to protect it.
2 outs and a runner at first. A 4-1 Arizona lead. Runner goes, and no chance for Molina. Easy steal, standing up for Young.
Number 12, and just picked Carpenter blind. All the infielders have to yell, step off, step off.
Carpenter takes a long walk behind the mound.
A lot of times the indication of lost concentration, and it's also not a quality of Carpenter.
1-0 pitch. Past Molina off the top of his glove into the backstop. I'm not sure if he was crossed up or just flat out missed it.
Now the Gold Glove, you'd have to think he was crossed up, but aren't getting any indication. He was moving like it was going to be a cutter, and it might have backed up a little bit as he moved inside and the ball. But he didn't go out to talk to Carpenter. But Cardinal battery kind of helping them manufacture a potential run.
2 balls and no strikes with 2 outs. Montero broken bat, and Schumacher makes the catch. It's August 19th through the 21st, and the road trip package includes luxury accommodations at the Four Seasons. Hard to get game tickets. Chance to mingle with some of the Cardinal players after the game. 800-892-7687. Visit Cardinals.com/vacations to find out more. And that pitch is a strike. Hope Washburn is at the ball game tonight and helping us throughout our telecast tonight. Hope Washburn. David Freese falls to 0-2. Here's an 0-2 pitch to David Freese. 1-2 to David Freese. Reaches for it and flies out to center. Here is Albert Pujols. Pujols single and an RBI. He's also walked. Here's the 0-1 pitch in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Crowd, it's huge tonight, over 43,000, but they've been quiet. Cardinals with just 5 base hits and 1 run.
Cardinals need to come out and see this game. You get the All-Star break, and then what, a 10-game road trip.
Off the foot of Pujols.
Described a slinger. Kind of get underneath that a little bit and everything, but it's got a little movement.
Let's see where that tails back in on a
Sure.
right-handed hitter.
Change the arm angle.
And he strikes out Pujols. That's 4 strikeouts for Hudson.
Bottom just falling out.
See that arm action now, and saw Pujols swing through the fastball, and Hudson with that changeup, that type of arm action as he slings it, can be very, very tough.
Came over from the White Sox.
Two.
It's involved the Edward Jackson trade, so 2 pretty good pitchers exchange teams.
Once it elevated, gets it there, and Holiday does not chase. Well, he's been effective here tonight, no doubt. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs and nobody on. Holiday with a single back in the 3rd. Looked to be a pretty good pitch.
Sure did.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Holiday reaches for it, picks up the base hit into right.
Maybe by not calling that 3rd strike right there, forced him to expand the zone and picks up a 2nd hit. So he reaches out and gets the ball, lines it to right.
Here is Berkman. Two outs and a runner at first for Lance Berkman. Strike at the knees on the outside corner. Berkman the other way. Here we go again. To the track, to the wall. And that ball is caught. Bloomquist takes the hit away from Lance Berkman on a fine play at the wall in left field. (4-1) Arizona. Prior to the Cardinals game, you can enjoy free frozen treats and win prizes in the Ford Plaza. That's courtesy of North Star. And again, it's a North Star Family Sunday tomorrow. Again, $13 tickets, free hot dog and soda. Kids can run the bases after the game. Free ticket to Six Flags and the ice cream before the game. Great deal, all for just $13 tomorrow at Cardinals.com. Nice play by Bloomquist. I don't think it would have been a home run.
I don't either, but sure would have been nice if it would have gotten through.
Carpenter working into the sixth. 1 ball, 1 strike on Sean Burroughs.
He's at 84 pitches, but Hudson right around 100 with his long first inning.
Ground ball, Schumacher from his knees makes the play.
Nice.
Good defense here in the last couple of moments here at Busch Stadium. Bloomquist with his catch out left, and moments ago, Skip Schumacher.
Skip goes to his left, scrambles from his knees, got that strong throwing arm. Nice play right there. So, seen some good D in this ball game.
You know, Schumacher with 1 error this year. That was on a throwing error and a play at the plate. And we've talked about this, Al, but you know, last year was probably, and he would tell you, maybe a down year for him defensively. The year before was really good in his transition from outfield to second base, and this year maybe better than all those.
Yeah, I remember he had a tough situation, you know, missed 40+ games, you know, with an injury, and really was rushed back to the big leagues when Punto got hurt, and so he had to fight his way and his timing back here at the major league level, but played another month or so, and now he's starting to get right in the swing of things offensively and defensively.
One of his gloves, he's got the names of his kids stitched on his glove. Players will have their nicknames on there or just their last name on it. Skip has got his kids stitched on it.
You don't question Skip's effort or anything that he does. He's a real professional.
Another chance for him. Off his glove and into right field. It's a base hit.
Different hop on that one. So it came up on him a little bit.
Keith Korn Oberman is with us, working in the truck. Not the Keith Oberman, but another one, and he does.
They're not the same?
Not the same. He does a tremendous job for us.
No. Talking to him, I thought they were.
That pitch is taken low. And it's ball one to Juan Miranda. Danny Martinez, Tom Mee, Mike Helling, Brian McCann with us day in and day out. In the air to right field, Berkman makes the catch. Miranda's out number 2. Build-A-Bear Workshop Day at Busch Stadium. And it's a Build-A-Bear honoring the one and only Stan the Man. Sunday, August 14th, 12,000 fans ages 15 and under will get that Stan the Man Build-A-Bear. There's giveaways all 3 nights of that series and the Sunday day game against Colorado. So if you're thinking about coming in for a weekend series, may want to look at the Colorado Rockies.
Good opponent and great promotions. Get the Medal of Freedom on the Build-A-Bear, right?
That's right. Two outs and a runner at first. 1-0 pitch to the pitcher, Hudson. Arguably has the biggest hit out in this game.
No doubt in my mind. Single, 2 RBIs. Ball got by Kobe for 3 runs to score. It was all in the second inning with 2 outs. It's the difference in this game.
2-0 pitch. Up the middle, and Hudson does it again. The pitcher, Hudson, with a sacrifice and 2 base hits.
Came in at 294. He's 2 for 2 in a sacrifice. Got the average up to 333 now. Pitchers can't help their own cause, and ball right back over the mound, and that was waist high as it went by Carpenter.
Swing and a miss by Kelly Johnson with 2 outs and runners at first and second.
There's been some great hitting pitchers over the years. Gibson was a big hitter. Sponny, Donnie Robinson, Kemmer Brett. And then you got Dean Chance. They give him a base hit if you foul the pitch off.
Most consecutive 115 plus pitch starts. 2011. Weaver, Hernandez, Halladay, and Chris Carpenter right now 4.
It's very deceptive. I remember we had a stat last time out that Carpenter was the first Cardinal pitcher since 1950 to throw like 124 pitches in 3 consecutive starts. Well, you had guys back then that would go 9 innings and a lot less pitches. And you had guys that would go a lot more pitches and because they never kept track.
That's well hit down the right field line in trouble. It's a ground rule double. Carpenter and the Redbirds actually catch a break with that going over the wall. 1 run is in. It's 5-1. Cardinals now get activity in the bullpen.
Jason Mott starting to throw, but right in the middle of the plate. Duncan out to talk. It's a 99th pitch, but 9th hit allowed. He's got the 4 walks. There's Mott.
Carpenter is due up third. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 6th inning. Top of the 6th. Reds and Milwaukee tied up at 3-3. Bottom of the 6th. Chicago leading the Pirates by the score of 5-3. Stephen Drew, he's flied out to center, flied out to left, and popped out to third. Center field, Rasmus going back and makes the catch. Colby leads it off when we come back. All on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. And for a limited time, Jack's really big chicken sandwich combo is back for only $3.99 plus tax at participating restaurants. Carsoup.com, our email. Joe in Danville, Illinois. Hey, Al, who was the most superstitious player you ever met?
Maybe Wade Boggs. Remember, he had a ritual. Everything was 7. You know, he'd eat chicken every single day, but he had a ritual of at 7 o'clock he did this, at 7:07, blah 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 blah. But a lot of ball players are very, very superstitious.
How about you?
Really not so much. You had kind of a routine that you would try to adhere to, but
There's a base hit for Rasmus.
If I got away from it, it didn't freak me out.
Rasmus has popped out to short. Fly to center, and now a single to right. Here's Yadier Molina. Did you step over the line?
I stepped over the line, but I didn't do a Turk Wendell where you do a little flip over it, or
you didn't brush your teeth.
And you would stand. The catcher would have to squat. If he squatted down the mound, the catcher would have to stand. All those silly things.
Runner at first. I bet if you had to make a guess on percentage-wise, do you see Punto will pinch hit for Carpenter? What do you think? 65 to 70% of the players at least would step over the foul line without touching it.
Yeah.
We watched the players catch the ceremonial first pitch. They're tiptoeing around there, and some guy hasn't thrown a ball in 15 years, and he puts it right on the line. You think that superstition is in jeopardy. That is a fair ball. Looked like it was right on the line.
A little double.
And Molina is aboard.
So the Cardinals catch a bad break. Would have produced an RBI, but more importantly, you have 2 men in scoring position.
Clearly a fair ball. Yadier Molina, the ground rule double, and Rasmus, because of that, safe at third. Safe at third base, safe and secure. New York Life.
And out to talk to Hudson as they have activity in their bullpen. Looks like Mitchell Boggs is going to be coming in behind Carpenter, but what will the score be? Punto will have something to say about that. He picked up his first RBI as a pinch hitter yesterday. I know his first pinch hit season he scored.
Punto hitting from the left side, and a 1-0 pitch. 2 balls and no strikes. Three and 0. Schumacher on deck. Runners in scoring position tonight. Cardinals 1 for 9. 3-0-1 though on the season. 3-1.
Diamondbacks last week or so have hit over 400 with runners in scoring position. At 3-0-1 for the season. You'll win some ball games with that.
Three and 2. What's been surprising is overall what the Cardinals have hit at home this year. Cardinals not hit that well. Been around that 260 mark.
Actually have won one more game on the road than they have at home. And as you said, just an environment that you think they dominate in, they've struggled offensively. Fans, you always have a packed house. You got a lot of red. You got a lot of support. Just a great environment to succeed in.
3-2 pitch. Punto spoils it. This season, 18 starts. He averages 105. He's at 108 right now. Another 3-2. He walked up. Bases loaded and nobody out for the Redbirds.
Talked about Hudson upset with himself. Can't be mad at his manager who's going to take him out, but he walks the pinch hitter and turns it over to the bullpen and trying to win his 10th game.
Chevy called to the pen. We'll tell you about the change when we come back. Ready, 26th appearance, and with the lefty Schumacher coming up, Kirk Gibson going with his righty, who's been very effective this year. 1.89 ERA. You think about how many times games are won before that ninth inning. Well, this is a particular spot that is very, very important, obviously, with the bases loaded and nobody out.
You've got the All-Star break. You've got a 5-1 lead here, bases loaded. You got a lot of confidence. Been using your two lefties out of the bullpen. Both starters have to be disappointed not going deeper into this ball game.
Let's give you the runners. It started with a base hit by Rasmus to right. Molina the double. Carpenter was pinch hit for by Nick Punto. He drew a walk. And now Schumacher in a big spot here.
Left-handed batters have hit 238 off of demo, and righties 250, so he's capable of getting Schumacher out. And you have a right-hander up next.
Schumacher rips it into right. Base hit. And the base is still loaded. It's 5-2.
RBI for Skip, a multi-hit game for him. Jumps on the first delivery. Talked about the Cardinals are getting a lot of experience in coming from behind, but they got to get to come from behind and win it.
Now Ryan Theriot singled and scored. He's flied out and grounded out and bounces it to short. Double play. Run does score. And it is now 5-3. 6-4-3 double play. David Freese represents the tying run. Did you find it interesting that Kirk Gibson did not go to one of his lefties with Schumacher?
Yes and no, but I mean, you know, they say that Kurt will go against the book. You know, he'll play his hunches, and I respect that. I mean, it's way oversimplification. You say, okay, the left-handed batter, bring in a left-hand. You know, maybe you pinch it, somebody. But the other thing is you make a good pitch, a righty makes a good pitch to a lefty, he's got a good chance of getting out. Make a bad pitch to a guy, you know, the hitter has a good chance of getting him out. He knows his ball club, and as you said, Demmel has been very, very durable for him and very steady, and currently they still have a lead.
0-2 pitch. Freeze stays away.
I find a lot of times, Dan, when you constantly make decisions based on, well, that if it goes wrong, somebody's going to criticize you. You're not a good manager.
Freeze, fly ball, left center, and caught on the track. From 16 to the final two greatest moments in Major League Baseball All-Star Game history. And all you have to do is go to MLB.com/moments and vote now for your favorite Midsummer Classic. And Stan the Man is still alive. He's in the final two. It's our Chevy call to the pen. And taking over, it's Mitchell Boggs. Boggs will get Upton, Young, and Montero. Mitchell, an ERA that has dropped under 3 his last 10 appearances. It's under 2. It's 5-3 Arizona. Here's Justin Upton. First pitch, a strike.
I think you and I are big believers in Mitchell Boggs, that he's going to be a big part of what happens in the second half.
Ground ball, base hit.
In a positive way.
Yes. So Upton is aboard.
Right down the middle, and Upton, their all-star, able to pull it through on the left side. Bogdan, I don't like him in the starting rotation. Came up that way, but he's found an ability to gather speed, pitch late in ball games, throw a really power sinker.
Young has singled, doubled, and grounded into a fielder's choice. Short lead at first, and that's hit hard but foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bottom of the 7th, the Cardinals will have Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman. Diamondbacks trying to make it 3 wins in a row.
Miller warming up for the Cardinal. Razavan for. Now he hits a man.
So runners at first and second. Montero will be the hitter. This ball just got away from Boggs and drills Young.
And you could just see the, drop the elbow, gets underneath, ball takes off, and don't have command of it. Tony got confirmation if Miller is ready.
Montero and then Burrows both hitting from the left side. We'll see if Tony La Russa does go to his bullpen.
They have 1 lefty and 4 righties on the bench, and Tony will go to the bench, see if Kirk Gibson will counter.
So Trevor Miller coming in. Boggs allows a single and hits a man. The 5-3 lead for Arizona here in the top of the 7th. Two lefties coming up. 36th appearance for Trevor. Times it has been a struggle this year. ERA of 4.20.
Trevor's been so good as a Cardinal, and as you said, it's been a troublesome year at times. Hasn't had command. With more hits than he's pitched, more walks. A lot of runners have scored. He's had a lot of specialization appearances where he'd walk or hit a batter, didn't get an out, but you never question his desire. And over the course of his career, he's pitched a lot of baseball. This is his 577th appearance since 2003 to lead all major league lefties. One of the guys you always pull for, isn't he?
Yes, he is. First and second, nobody out. Miguel Montero. You hit it on the head. It's been a question of command at times with Trevor Miller.
He's, I mean, that pitch right there has been such an effective, breaking ball for him when he has two strikes and put a hitter away. But many times he just doesn't have the command of it, so he gets behind in the count.
In the air, a high fly ball. Rasmus backing up, makes the catch. Throw comes into the bag at second base on a hop. One away.
Even right there, you want to see Kobe take charge, but you want to see him get in a better position and just assume that they're going to tag up. He doesn't assume they're going to tag up and advance to third base, and he's kind of flat-footed when he makes the play. Those are the little things that Kobe still needs. Well, they're not. I'm not that shallow. They're not going to run. Well, yeah, they are running. The double play is still in order, but you got to get that ball fired in and keep that runner at second base.
Ryan Roberts will pinch hit for Burrows. Right-hander is getting loose in the Cardinal pen.
That's Mott, who was up earlier, so if they wanted to make a pitching change, they could do so.
Good speed at first and at third. Antonio La Russa looks like we'll make the change here. Jason Mott gets the call. He'll come in. Miller gets the out. Runners at the corners. One out when we come back. first and third, 5-3 Arizona. Appearance number 40 for Jason Mott. Just talk about a situational lefty with Mott. He's used so much from the right side.
Not that boring.
Runners at first and third for Roberts. One out. First pitch taken high at 96 miles an hour.
He's going to challenge it. He can get the strikeout.
Pitch to Roberts. Nice job of framing that by Yadier Molina.
Has been able to incorporate the secondary pitch a little bit more, but if you're a hitter up there, you pretty much got to go look dead red.
No doubt. 2-1 pitch.
4 straight fastballs, which is fine if you can locate them.
Infield in and a 2-2 instead of check on the runners. The 2-2 pitch. Base hit out to left field. A run will score. Drops in for a hit. Will be charged to Mitchell Boggs. Upton scores to make it 6-3. Runners at first and second. Willie Bloomquist will be the hitter.
Hit it well. Jammed him a little bit, but muscles it over the infield. Cardinals picked up 2. They get 1 back. To a 3-run lead and still threatening.
Walk, a fly out, and a single for Bloomquist tonight. Ground ball. Mott knocks it down. Goes to first. Runners advance to second and third. Talk about the natural instinct to field the baseball. Mott did that. If he lets it go, may have had a double play. Been very close.
Might not have been hit hard enough, but it's just like you said. It's hard to sit there and the heat of the battle to sit there and say, oh, let this ball go through because I know my guy's going to be there. It did appear that Schumacher would have been there. Might have only got one out, could have gotten two, but
runners in second and third with 2 outs. And a fly ball. Shallow right center. Rasmus makes the catch. Time to stretch. And the big bats coming up. Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman combined with 3 hits tonight. 6-3 Arizona. StubHub, you'll find the seats you want and the freedom to choose where you'd like to sit. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the St. Louis Cardinals. Razabon, second appearance in this series and 5th overall this year. 2.25 ERA. Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman. 6-3 Arizona. And the first pitch is taken for a strike. Pujols with an RBI base hit in the first. He walked in the third and struck out in the 5th. Here's the 0-1 pitch. It's a rocket out to left. And this ball is off the base of the wall. Pujols will dig for 2. No, he'll stop right there and wisely heading back to first base. Bloomquist played that very well to the left, and we saw him take an extra base hit away from Berkman earlier tonight.
Yeah, Bloomquist got very good speed and got to that ball and cut it off. And a rocket off the bat, one of the harder hit balls we've seen from Albert since his return, but played perfectly by Bloomquist. But here come the Cardinals.
Holiday with 2 singles to go along with a strikeout tonight. 2 for 3. Seen a combined 21 hits in this game. Arizona with 11, the Cardinals with 10. Both teams have committed an error. The Redbirds have left 8 on. Arizona has stranded 8.
Hit batters, 7 walks. So a lot of base runners.
Holiday didn't like that call on the inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Albert on the all-time hit list, now ahead of Red Shandy's Cardinals hit list.
Where will he be when it's all said and done?
Great question. I look at that two different ways. Where will he be? Will it be in St. Louis? And if so, where will he be on that list?
Well, let's assume he'll be in St. Louis. And let's assume he'll finish second to Stan. Go past Lou.
A 2-2 pitch. Holiday bounces it to short. Can they turn two? Out at second. Safe at first.
Pulled over on it. Matt always hustling. Keeps the inning alive.
One down. Here's Berkman 0 for 2. Walk back in the first inning. Two. Berkman, which we showed you the other night, the very quiet hands from this side of the plate, just taps the shoulder with the bat. Very loose with the hands.
I see a lot of times that bat flies out of his hands, but sounder approach to hitting. Try and grip that bat so tight, twist it into sawdust, and you're not doing yourself a favor. 18 of those 24 home runs were on the road.
Jammed here, popped it up. Foul territory, and it drops. Roberts would love to have another chance at that one. Primarily, we've seen him at second base. And he had the pinch hit, base hit, RBI, pinch hitting for Burrows, top of the inning.
And left-handed batter, the switch hitter Berkman, so Stephen Drew was playing more up the middle, never really usually has a better angle on that ball, but a much longer run. When you see a ball like that, you appreciate the old skills of Terry Pendleton.
Scott Rowland, two of the best at that.
Put my buddy the Zamboni machine. Can he reach there?
You bet. We see Kenny just about every night here at the ballpark. I would say you two have a unique relationship.
We do. Right? We roomed together at one time in the minor leagues, or in spring training, trying to make ball clubs.
You and Rizzi together, huh?
Met Rizzi back in 1969.
Goodness. As Al says when he hands out his bobblehead, you point at him, you say, that guy had a lot of fun.
That guy.
Right, the bobblehead guy.
The bobblehead guy. A lot more than me.
3-2 is taken for a ball, and Holiday is at second base. And so once again, the tying run will come to the plate, the former Colby Rasmus. Kirk Gibson did not have a lefty getting loose, so it's Brazaban here against Rasmus.
brain trust going over that bullpen, trying to figure out things. But sometimes you'd just rather stick with a righty against a lefty. You do feel it's a better opportunity. Other times it makes sense. I think Kirk Gibson knows his ball club better than we. Lance Lynn is warming up for the Cardinals. Now a lefty will get up.
Rasmus, right field, and it's off the end of the bat. Didn't quite get all of it. Runner will tag up, and that's Holiday from second to third.
You're talking about what you've seen from Kobe lately is a lot of strikeouts and a lot of getting underneath pitches. The road trip, he had 3 hits. They're all home runs. You get a little home run happy, and you hurt yourself as a hitter. Home runs come when you just try to make solid contact and drive the ball.
Two outs, 2 on. Ball high to Molina.
Well, we're always talking about what an RBI machine Molina is, but actually this season he's hit better leading off innings than hitting with runners on base.
Yanni with a fly ball into shallow right. And the Cardinals strand 2. They've left 10 on tonight. We head to the 8th, 6-3. By Budweiser, great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By Bank of America, where ATM deposits are as easy as an infield fly. No deposit slip, no envelope. With Bank of America, member FDIC. And by AT&T. Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. Big crowd, well over 40,000 here tonight. But right now they've been disappointed. Redbirds trailing 6-3. Al, give me your impressions this far of Lance Lynn, what you've seen out of the bullpen.
I like what I've seen. You know, he's made a couple starts for the Cardinals. Really, his defense kind of let him down, but look at those 20 strikeouts and 4 walks. I like him better coming out of the bullpen. You know, he's a big, strong kid. He was a former minor league pitcher of the year. You know me, I believe in the subscribing to the theory that you pitch a couple years out of the bullpen and then kind of get acclimated. You figure out what works, what doesn't work here. Trust your stuff, and then because he's so big and strong, if you want to make at that point move him into the rotation, he would be probably better suited. But he's shown, you know, a big guy that should be fearless out there, should be able to intimidate some people. He acts like he's very, very comfortable on the mound and not afraid.
0-2 pitch to Xavier Nady.
Are we in agreement?
Most definitely. I know that Dave Duncan has really liked what he's seen out of the bullpen.
Right. I mean, it's hard for young kids to come up and go right into the rotation.
On that pitch, but he'll get away with it.
My mind, and what you, as a pitcher, you just gotta say, hey, it's a foul ball. I got a strike. Somebody else says you just missed it, but
that'd be Nady.
Yeah, but he's got swing and miss stuff.
Fastball at 95. Well, this is something that, you know, the Cardinals have seen a little bit of, and more now in the last probably year or so, which is the fastball that's got a little extra oomph at the end.
And that's a byproduct of coming out of the bullpen. You know, you as a starter, you're sitting there saying, oh, I got to go six innings. I got to go through the order 3 times. I got to have something in reserve. You're trying to trick people. Here you can kind of air it out, just like blow it out. And when you do that, you know, you gain velocity, you gain confidence. But when you throw that fastball also, you learn fastball command, how to spot it.
One night that Lance Lynn in Baltimore struck out 5 of 6 that he saw. Strikes out the first man here. 1 ball, 1 strike on Johnson.
Took a little off, gets it out.
Backing up Holiday, makes the catch with 2 hands.
A lot of fans sometimes, even after all these great years of Dave Duncan being here, don't quite understand his pitching to contact philosophy, and that's why a letter to the editor said that Lance Lynn wouldn't be around long because he strikes too many people out. Dave Duncan wouldn't like him. One of the keys for a reliever also is to get rid of, you know, innings in few pitches, so you can come back night after night. But you don't have to, you know, have a game where a guy goes, you know, 25-30 and then you have to sit out a day or two.
On a play, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Which is something I totally don't understand. You're in the bullpen, you got responsibilities, and the responsibility is to be ready to pitch every day.
Two outs. 1 ball, 1 strike on Stephen Drew. And a ground ball that's backhanded by Pujols. Lynn hustling to the bag and makes the play. So 1, 2, 3 go the Diamondbacks. 6-3 midway through 8. Daniel Hudson, the starter for Arizona, 5 innings. Chris Carpenter, 6 innings for St. Louis. And Chris Young, 2 for 3 with an RBI double. Sonic game recap as we move to the bottom of the 8th. And John Jay will be the pinch hitter to start things out.
Brazoban's second inning to work. Jay, 295 average. Look at those 7 home runs, 22. He does have 2 pinch hit home runs.
And he leads it off with a base hit into right center. This seems like he makes things happen, doesn't it?
You just don't get tired. You know, fundamentally very sound. You and I had a lot of discussions about him last season. Hit 300, kind of tailed off towards the end, but he's one of those guys playing my team every time because he understands his role when he's in the lineup, understands when he's coming off the bench, always ready, and fundamentally, play solid defense for you. Never going to embarrass you. Real character guy, like the guy at the plate.
Pitch was a strike, and it didn't look to be very close.
Like Dixon warming up for the Cardinals. With us anymore, is he?
No, he's been sent down. It's P.J. Walters.
P.J. Walters, that's what. Look at the body frame.
1-2 the count on Schumacher.
Now, P.J.'s put together between now and last season 10 straight shutout innings.
That's right. Very end of the year, he got to start, pitched well in that game, and now out of the bullpen. His last time gave up no runs in 2 innings of work. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Schumacher, base hit into right field. Jay heads to second as it's bobbled in right. And again, the tying run will come to the plate.
3-hit game for Skip. John Jay just didn't take anything for granted. He goes around the bag. Then he sees the bobble and knew he could get an extra base. Pay attention. Don't put your head down and just forget. So you saw him alertly watch the play and in position to react to the miscue.
Broken bat, center field. Catch is made, then dropped.
It should be a catch, though.
Throw to the plate is safe. 6-4.
It was a catch, and in the effort to extract the ball, he dropped it so the runner can advance, but it is 1 out. Reaches in. So batter out, and E8 allowing John Jay to score.
Watch this slide.
Yeah. Catcher to the inside, so he goes to
what a great
the
slide.
outside. And good positioning not only by John Jay reacting to the catcher, but how about also the umpire in perfect position. And you can see Young ticked off as he commits an error, and it allows a run, make it a 2-run game.
2 errors here this inning. Now David Freese. Freese, a tough night. He's 0 for 4. Represents the tying run at the plate. outside corner. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Albert was the first to greet Razabron and hit that screamer off the left field wall.
Two hits tonight. RBI and a walk for Pujols.
Albert had been 1 for 12 since returning from the DL. As you said, 2 for 3 tonight with a walk.
Albert hits one deep left. We are tied.
Supposed to face a reliever twice in a game, and usually when you do, good things happen. So Albert gets his second shot. This time he ties it with his 18th home run. His RBI total up to 50. A lot of happy smiles right there, but we got a tie game.
They want the curtain call. Now Holiday, who has a pair of base hits. Six, thanks to Pujols. One ball, one strike on Matt Holiday.
Had to come from behind, but need to close out some victories.
On 1-2, Holiday swings and misses, strikes out. But Albert Pujols has tied it up with a rocket into the bullpen and left. His 18th, now with 50 RBIs. 6-6 as we head to the ninth. Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live coming up next. But we still have some baseball here tonight. We're tied up. It's 6-6. And it's the top of the ninth. Fernando Salas into the ball game. It's turned into a wild game here at Busch Stadium.
Cardinals about hit them 13-11. Arizona 3 errors. Cardinals 1. Cardinals are stranded 10. Diamondbacks 8, and Salas 17 opportunities, 15 saves.
First pitch into right field off the bat of Justin Upton, and Berkman makes the catch for out number 1.
Salas has shown that ability to come in and dispense with innings and very few pitches.
Chris Young been hit by a pitch, pair of base hits, and also grounded into a fielder's choice. Tony La Russa very comfortable in using Salas against righties or lefties. And right now, without question, he is the closer for the Cardinals. The 0-1 pitch. Broken bat. Salas steps, throws out. 2 away.
It's not your classic closer, but you know, he's fearless. You go out there and throws the strikes. They don't really center the ball on him very well.
We've seen at times he has struggled with multiple innings, but right now he's at 3 pitches. If he has a quick, efficient inning here, no reason to think he can't go back out.
And we've seen him go out there and have, you know, a couple innings where he's thrown a half dozen pitches and got through 2 innings.
And that's only if he has to. Cardinals could win it in the bottom of the ninth. Redbirds looking ahead. We'll have Berkman, Rasmus, Molina due up.
I think we're probably going to see Hernandez again. Their closer has been very good. He's 5 for 5 since taking over for J.J. Putz.
Question, though, would have to be, and that's a strike, if you feel that you have an effective lefty, you would turn around Berkman to his lesser side from the right. Then you have Rasmus, who hits him on the left side. If you want to bring in your righty, you could have him face Molina.
And I think we saw earlier that Kirk Gibson may not have that much confidence in his lefties.
Yep. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Miguel Montero. Got him on the outside corner. Montero didn't like the call. 2 up and a chance at a walk-off win. Berkman, Rasmus, Molina as we head to the bottom of the ninth. if Kirk Gibson would go to that lefty. He has here. And Lance Berkman will lead it off for St. Louis. Tied up 6-6 here in the bottom of the ninth.
They turned Berkman around, but Berkman swinging the bat a lot better this year right-handed than he had in the past. And Patterson now also has better numbers. Right-handed batters are batting 200 against him. Lefties 240. He allowed a single and had a strikeout last night against the Cardinals. Has held the opposition scoreless in 11 of his last 12 games.
Berkman on the first pitch. Ground ball up the middle. And the winning run is on.
Like I said, doesn't matter lefty lefty. You make a good pitch, you got a chance to get anybody out. You leave a pitch in the middle of the plate, somebody's got a chance to get a base hit. Hit it right back over the mound, but with his exaggerated delivery, he falls to the first base side and couldn't cover the mound.
Well, now it's a bunting situation possibly. Third baseman weigh in. Roberts, they'll hold it first. Outfield is deep and straight away. Colby takes a ball outside.
So maybe I wonder kind of how many times Colby has bunted, especially against a lefty that's a slinger.
He has one sacrifice this year.
I mean, that's something that he is real comfortable in doing.
Don't have great speed at first in Lance Berkman, so have to be a pretty good bunt. Patterson will go to second. Out.
Chance and got away with it. Bunts it here, he's a little bit too close to the pitcher. Advantage to a left-handed thrower. Gets it over there. Gets the force out. The good news is you got better speed on the base pass now.
But nobody in scoring position.
Nobody in scoring position. You also have the first baseman holding on the runner at first base, and Molina and his ability to hit a ball to the right side.
Here's Yadier Molina.
Cruz is on deck. I'm surprised not a righty warming up.
Surprised there's not a righty in the game right now.
That's right.
Shot of Garcia there. Tony La Russa told him to grab a bat and a helmet. But you do have Tony Cruz on deck. Three career walk-off hits. Cardinals with a 3-run bottom of the 8th just joined us to tie it up, highlighted by the 2-run homer by Pujols. got a very good hit and run man at the plate. 2 balls and no strikes.
Pitcher doesn't throw real hard.
3-0.
Montero has 10 errors on the season, but he is a pretty good throwing catcher.
Reason to see Cruz. You've got Laird, backup catcher, left on the bench. Switch hitting that Punto has been used. Jay from the left side has been used. You have Descalso from the left side, so Cruz would be your option at least at this point. They're in the top of the 10th. Cincinnati, Milwaukee tied 3-3. Bottom of the 8th. Announcement final. Chicago over Pittsburgh 6-3.
3-1 pitch right here. That time called. Late call there.
Inside to Molina. Running run in scoring position. That's Rasmus.
You want Patterson to face Tony Cruz, or do you want Heidelman to face Descalso?
Still has not made the call to the bullpen just yet.
They'd rather have the lefty face the inexperience of Cruz and Descalso, who has been a very magical person late in the ball game, come up with key hits facing a right-hander.
Now Kirk Gibson having words with the home plate umpire about Molina calling time a couple of times at previous at bat when it was granted.
Call it, but the umpire has to grant it, and it appeared he granted it very late. Talked about the other day, I liked the idea of keeping Tony Cruz rather than Hamilton. For more balance on the bench, more versatility in the field. See if Tony can't come through here.
Two on, one out. Cruz looks at a ball.
On the homestand, 2 for 5.
Walked as a pinch hitter on Thursday night. He could be a hero here this evening. Into the Cardinals dugout. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Picked off one of his teammates. Converted infielder. He's shown me a little bit, you know.
Steven Drew has been the one going in and out at second base, trying to keep Colby Rasmus close, and in doing so, big gap between third and short. They're guarding the line at third. Outfield not as deep, but straight away. Cruz, right center. This could be trouble, and it is. Rasmus to third. Rasmus to home. The Cardinals win it. Tony Cruz, a walk-off base hit.
definitely needed this one, and what a great and unlikely hero. But you can't be happier for Tony Cruz.
The Cardinals with 3 runs in the 8th inning. A Pujols 2-run shot to tie it up. And the Cardinals off of Joe Patterson come from behind and win it in the bottom of the 9th. And one of the most unlikeliest of heroes, Tony Cruz, the game-winning hit. And we turn to our Budweiser player of the game, and it's Albert Pujols, 3 for 4. And Albert with that 2-run homer. We step aside. Post-game show coming up. Thrilling win for the Cardinals. Tony Cruz, the walk-off hit. Over 40,000. They loved it. And so do his teammates. Cardinals pick up win number 48 in thrilling fashion. What a night. 7-6 the final.